Hey, muy buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. Bueno, mi gente, first and foremost, please allow me to start off by extending my love and my gratitude to every one of you, as always, for you guys' words, prayers, and for your amazing support. Del Cora, como siempre, gracias. Now, before I get into the story at hand, I hope you guys are able to hear me right. You know, as you guys are aware, this will be actually the first video since I came back. The other ones are the ones that I have mentioned to you guys I did before I went into the surgery. So this one I have to do it in my phone because I can't really be setting up right. So ahead of time, if I don't sound correct, I do apologize. Bueno, mi gente, for this one I want to touch on, every time we're in the game or we're doing something, it's always, there's two ways about things, death or prison. But, there is a different angle, which is not favorable for one. So I want to touch on that, how, just to expand on how you could always do 1,000 things right, ruin your life, minimize your loved ones to the point where, let's be sincere, they may be your loved ones, but it comes to a point where they give up on you. And that's the reality of things. There's a lot that think the way the saying goes, ojos que no ven, corazón que no sienten. So if they let go of you, not because they stop loving you, but it's less hurtful than seeing how things are unfolding with you. Okay, for the story, I want to touch on a Pili that he's not known like that, but that he had a lot of power. He was just not one of those tickers or money hungry vatos. He did his wiggling and he preferred to do it without, lifting up too much dust. And I was going to put two pilis together to put the story out there, but I decided to separate them and just concentrate on one. Okay, for this one, I want to talk about Chino from Modesto. For those that were in the known of him, he he came from death row. To the exact year, I couldn't really tell you. I just remember he came from death row, up on death row, he was part of that. I don't want to say faction, but it is what it is, right? So he got made up there by, I'm not sure if Chato was involved, but definitely, Ronnie and Hector, they were two of the main ones. I believe David too when he was up there. So anyways, the Pili got made, I could say here, I'm not gonna say he was he was a firme Pili, but he wasn't one of those dirty ones, like a lot of the ones I've talked about recently. So, anyways, he had that little area, he had Modesto, neighborhoods in Modesto, he had Merced, the camaradas in Merced, little towns around there. So before this happened, I had met a camarada back, way back, I'm talking about when we were going out to court to Palmas, right? He was also going out there because he was picking up amapilis and taking them, or bringing them in. Well, you guys know the the guidelines to where we get pulled out to court, what is behind. So, anyways, they called him Happy. He was from a homie's neighborhood in Modesto. I believe he was from Little Town, or I believe it was Little Town, right? Because later on he clicked up with the homie from from Los Primos from Merced. So I know one of them was from Los Primos, the other one was from Little Town. But basically he started doing his thing for Chino, going out there and getting neighborhoods together and lacing up homies. Because to be sincere, that at this time there's a lot of youngsters, right? So he was out there lacing them up and doing what he had to do. And it came to a point where there was a big old sweep behind Fonzie, which is the other Billy I was gonna put them together, right, to make sense. So Happy ended up going on the wrong. He ended up splitting to Mexico, and for a long time, it was rare when I was able to say Cuba to the Billy, because we're just in different spots up in the Bay, right? But you guys know how it is when you're in the mix like that. Palabra gets around, and eventually you're gonna hear about things. And Happy started pulling in. Well, he built the pipeline, to get it to the Central Valley, and it was touching Chino's hand and whatever Chino was doing, and Fonzie, which I will touch on here shortly in the next story. But everything was going firme for them. And that's one thing I gotta say about that old man Chino. When Happy would get busted in Mexico, he would literally come out his pocket and take care of his boy, right? Because that's who was moving everything, as it should be. He ran from Cali from a RICO indictment because he was doing things for him, and he was looking out for the one that was looking out for him. So, as you guys know, within time, I eventually, started doing my thing, and I would hit down here. So I met up with Happy a couple times, which just whatever Happy had going in Mexico, it's still functioning. So I'm not gonna input the state nor. But anyways, what they started doing was they started opening up this little bullet, right, in Mexico. Which when we met with them, and it was strip clubs, just to put it out there like that, But it's different. For example, they had one that was called the leader, excuse me, where you basically go in, and that thing was way up in there, but you had to go through this long drive-in, right? And Happy was most of the time always at the door, and he met up with who he had to meet up with there, and lined up, you know, jale, material, dulce, chucholucos, however you want to call them, right? And I said it here before, the vatos in Mexico, they don't really trip on you as long as you're getting it from them and you do it out of state. You don't do it in their plaza. Once you start doing it in their territory, then that's when it becomes a problem. They call it meando fuera de la cazuela, right? Oh, sorry. But anyways, disculpen. But anyways, you know, again, this was an old man that He was back in Cali, right? And so for him, it was easy to tell Happy, hey, I need you to, those three strip clubs we have going to start, you know, making a little bit of fatty and start buying lands and more businesses down there. Which, when you're doing it for a while, for a long time, things seem easy, right? You tend to minimize what you know it ain't right, what you know is gonna happen. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we're Chicanos, Mexicanos. This is our motherland, nuestro terre, but it's not our terre. If you guys get what I'm trying to say, it belongs to someone else. But, I told this to Happy one time and I told him, look, don't do this, fool. You're going to close the doors on yourself and you're going to start something that it's going to eventually it's going to hit you in the mascara, right? You're going to have a huge problem if it becomes a problem. If they don't become a problem, it could become, well, you guys get what I'm trying to say. But again, we were camaradas, so all I could do was talk to another camarada. I ain't nobody, was nobody. So I could surely tell a camarada how I saw things from an outside point of view, right? But at the end of the day, the camarada felt he had enough gente to just do little here and there and stay in the shadows without nobody knowing. But here in Mexico, it's a rata structure, and do forgive I say it like this, but it's exactly what it is. It's all based on telling. Everything's based on telling, man. Working with Popo, with anything you can think of is structured worse than it is in Cali, right? When it comes to backstabbing, here to become somebody is not because you earn it, it's because you backstab someone and you took his place. Here they have halcones, right? I don't know if everyone is aware of what an halcon is. And a halcon is, for example, you come out on the street and you see this little lady selling churros or caña or fruit or whatever, and that lady is under the cartel's pay, and she's constantly telling them what she sees. If the verdes go up, if the marines go up, whatever that she knows shouldn't be happening, she's going to be calling it in. And they got somebody like that on every block or every other block calling things in. It could be, that sweet old lady asking for limosna in the corner, right? Asking for a peso. So anyways, homeboy started doing his thing, he did his thing for a while, and eventually one night at the leader, they call it siete, went up in there with his talibanes and, you know, went to town on the homie and whatever gente was there with them that day, right? So the homie got away. He did get away, but they messed his leg up. They hit him with an R15 and he couldn't walk right no more. So now we got that call or that appeal, that if we could support him to a point where to keep him safe for a while and, help him get back on his feet. So we did. We take the camarada in, of course, and when we were taking care of him is when all that hit the fan with Chino, which I will touch on my next story. I don't want to take from the camarada, right? So basically se quedó, but At the end of the day, he had a lot of good plugs, right? A lot of good avenidas and pipelines. So what happens next? A real Tecato comes, right? And he wants that. He wants that power. He wants all that carries with happy. So he starts little by little, you know, helping the camarada, building them, and I'm not gonna put this Billy out there because he's still out there till date, you know. So there's no reason for me to open that window because it's not what I'm here for, right? As you guys know. But anyways, the camarada, when you're trying to do things in Mexico, you gotta buck up because it ain't gonna be just a cartel, period. Judiciales, federales. I'm not gonna say guachos, but the Marines are gonna try it because they're the ones that set the plazas in Mexico. You guys don't ever confuse things with thinking the cartel set things in Mexico. They don't set a damn thing. It's the Marines, the ones that set everything in Mexico. They decide who's in charge and who's not in charge. Period. So they start getting the little wiggle on it, but they do have to clear house, and to some sense, right? So the camarada kept getting busted, and that's one thing the cartel does control. The prisons of the state that belongs to them under the plaza they have control of, and we already hate it as it is from if they not Sinaloa and now the Jalisco, every other cartel, cause of the close alliance with Sinaloa, right? We're gonna get the blues. We're gonna get stomped in just for the fact that the first thing they ask you when you hear the pinta here in Mexico, what's up with all these tacas? Eres marero? And of course, not to disrespect the MS camaradas from our side, right? But we say, fuck no, yo soy esto y esto otro, right? But from the start, just by you saying you're a sureño, you're gonna get stomped in. No buts or ifs. If you're lucky. Because there's been cases where, let's just say, it's a funny way how people escape from prison and don't appear ever again, right? So we met up again, but this time we were behind bars. I don't know if you guys remember, I had told a story about the camarada here being with us in a place. So he basically started telling me like, hey, look, esto y esto otro, esto y otro. Old man that took over for Chino. Así está, Jesus or Chino, he was greedy, man, but he was always there when, I've been in here for a few months. Nobody has came in and sent a pollo in, or at least send a couple pesos to go buy a torta. I have to sit down and eat buffet, because that's what the food's called here. And for those that can click buffet with the correct word, that's exactly what it looked like when they served that plate, man. Buffet. Throw up. They give you twice a day that, and a homie can't walk right. He's stuck in prison. Mexico, you wait to get sentenced, and if you got the right people in your corner, you get out. Period. But he didn't. They ended up, the person that took over for Chino ended up having Happy take the fall for, you know, narcomenudeo and descargar un arma militar at the Marines. So please put this image in your head. Just for being a Sureño, man, I have so stories how we get the blues, period. But really think about the torture the Marines give you. Literally. And then for trying to take them out, I was surprised homie was alive and in jail. I'll just leave it like that. But anyways, and then the main thing in the story that I want to touch on is this camarada from the system doing things right to Cali, building up neighborhoods, helping a Pili establish himself in neighborhoods, picking up whatever little they were sending from a neighborhood to the point where things hit the fan and helped the Pili come down to Mexico, picked up avenues, opened up business for him. And at all times, he was obeying the Pili's orders. And for the Pili's greed, things hit the fan, right? As for himself, as I will touch on soon. But, to all those that have not been in the mix thinking that you're going to do things to the point to get some love, some recognition from these individuals, here's a camarada that over 25 years did things correctly, from doing time, from building neighborhoods, building avenues to make feria for them in the mesa. And then this Pilis has to go. So for those that ask me what happens when a Pilis falls, they didn't necessarily took out happy, right? But they used him as a guinea pig. What do I mean? They took over Chino stuff, took over all what Chino had. Then they had Happy take the downfall for their BS to take the Judas off their back. To them, Happy wasn't worth anything no more. He couldn't be trusted because he was loyal to a certain Pili. When a Pili falls, if you're that Pili soldado, lace up, boot up, and get ready to go to war. And I know I'm gonna have a lot of people come on here and be like, hey, boo, there's so many people that come on here and talk about like, oh, I was with a senor here, I was with a Pili here, legend this, and that. Man, miss me with all that. I come from the time where in order for you to even meet these individuals, you would have to put in work. In order to have these individuals even take you in consideration, you had to be about it. Not just be taking laps on the yard and get to meet one. And one of them thinking they could use and abuse you. So they take you under their wing. It didn't work like that in the days when I was there. Ask this camarada. So, I know there's a lot of you. Me personally, that I constantly was back there, man. I constantly ran across new Pilis. A lot. But anyways, the camarada is still there, in that state busted. He got 30 something years, which is a life sentence, just no family, on the shine by the organization he gave everything to, that he can't even walk right no more his life, left everything in Cali for, and of course it was his choosing, right? But I bet you it never went through his head that he was going to end up in a Mexican prison, doing close to a life sentence, not having to even buy a sandwich to eat, not have nobody to send or show him love with a sandwich. Yes, I know there's camaradas that are constantly going in and out and You know, he ain't no PC. He ain't no piece of. So of course they show love. You know, when I was still able to move back and forth, him, Little Man, and a couple other camaradas that are never gonna get out of a jail prison. If I was in the state, I would make sure I go to the polleria, buy a couple pollos asados, and I will send them in with a estafeta to them, right? But you know, it's not because I don't want to. It's just real hard for me to do it now. But anyways, just to those youngsters, just think about it. There's no doing right for these individuals, especially nowadays. They used to do this to camaradas when they were seriously in need of camaradas. For us to be going back there to doing things, to open this communication lines, to open all these avenidas. They're out now. They got cell phones. You really think whatever you're gonna sacrifice your family, your freedom, your life for, it's gonna be appreciated for? Just look around. So please just smart up, be wise, love your loved ones. You know, those are the only three things that should matter to you. Period. First and foremost, God, your loved ones, which is family, homeboys are you love that love you, but you can't do neither one if you don't value and love yourself. So stay true to yourself, loyal to your loved ones. Gracias, and again I apologize, and if I'm still not myself in the story, and I hope I made sense. Buenas noches.